now at the point where I'm wondering a little bit about the censorship and celebration aspect of what we're talking about today. So can you tell us, either personally or professionally, what's an example of a time you really noticed yourself moving from feeling censored, either self-censorship or being censored by others, to feeling celebrated or celebratory?
Absolutely. I was just out of graduate school when I became an intensive outpatient therapist at a treatment center for adolescents here in Austin, Texas. And I came into this knowing that the type of young men that I would be working with were hyper-masculine, had been involved with gangs, drug dealing, violence, tough schools. Some of them had been coming right out of juvenile detainment. And they really were kind of the physical manifestation of everyone that I would say had hurt me in my past. You know, for me, I told myself this story about who I was going to be working with, and for me it was a really scary one. One that I really had gotten some distance from as an adult and didn't really concern myself with too much in my everyday life. And so now to be faced with it again and to be providing services to men who, quite frankly, scared me a little bit was an intense experience for me. And I initially felt like I had to present as a very masculine authority figure to an extent, which was outside of my character and really who I am. And all I kept thinking was, particularly with adolescents, that it's more important to be yourself because they'll see right through you anyway. And I was responsible for leading the therapy group, the process and support group for the men at the intensive outpatient program. And at one point, I realized that our rapport was suffering from me being dishonest by keeping that part of myself quiet. And there was a question that almost made it unavoidable for me to come out. And I thought, here it is. Here's my chance to go from censored to celebrated, to use your words. And I came out to this group of guys who, again, represented the men who threatened me for most of my life. And I found, on their part, some immediate discomfort and surprise and sort of shock. And then what unfolded from there was more rapport building, more trust. I even had one young man walk up to me and say, I've never had somebody just blatantly come out of the closet like that to me. And it made me surprised and uncomfortable. I can't remember his exact words. And then he said, I'm so glad you did. He's like, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, you know? And I guess I just realized that the bias that I had toward this group was what was holding me back, because the acceptance on the other side of it was so much greater than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah. Wow, that's really, really powerful. And I've been thinking a lot recently just about this idea of coming out and how can be a daily process. It's not necessarily a one-time process. Has that been your experience with it?
Absolutely. Coming out is an ongoing process, even with my family. There are layers of homosexuality, of sexuality in general, of gender expression that my family is still exploring together. And then in my everyday life with meeting new people, with encountering strangers, to what extent am I opening myself up to them or feeling safe? Yeah, it's an ongoing process. A lot of times I work with clients who have come out to their family once, 15, 18 years ago sometimes, and have never talked about their sexuality with their family since. And that's not having a responsibility to your greater truth. It's really not healing and growing, and it's not providing a space where empathy can thrive. And so we really work on that ongoing experience of coming out.
Yeah. Well, and it's a very vulnerable process, so that makes sense that there could be a lot of fear around that in different environments and with different
That's
people.
absolutely the place that we start, is focusing on the fear and shedding some light on it, and getting the fear out of those dark corners where it can thrive, and pulling it out of those dark corners, and illuminating it and working on it, and speaking it out loud.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's something to hibernating in the shadows, but there's a lot of power in coming into the light too, and feeling that celebration, moving from censorship.